Welcome to the Virtual College Exploration for all West Virginia students, sponsored by the West Virginia Association of Collegiate Registrars and Admission Officers and StriveScan. Thank you for joining us this evening. A few housekeeping announcements before we get started. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. Your camera and microphone are off so the panelists cannot see or hear you. This is just one of the many different sessions happening, so be sure to check out the full schedule at WVACRAO.org. This presentation is being recorded and will be available within about a week at the same website, WVACRAO.org. I would now like to turn it over to our presenters.
Hi, everybody. My name is Megan, and I am a recruitment coordinator here at Marshall University. I am hosting this meeting with my colleague, Alex. He is also a recruitment coordinator, and we're just going to be going through some of the admission requirements for Marshall, as well as our general enrollment process. I will be sharing my screen with you to go over a PowerPoint presentation and a video, and then walk you through some various links that you might find helpful. So feel free to send your questions during the presentation. Alex is going to be answering those for you as we go, or you can save them until the end. But I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and begin the PowerPoint. Okay, so Marshall University is made up of several different colleges, and all of our undergraduate majors fall into one of these categories. 7 different colleges that you can graduate from, and you will see the university college listed on the bottom there. Each of these colleges have several majors that they contain. College of Arts and Media, Advertising, PR, Lewis College of Business, Accounting, Economics, Marketing, College of Education and Professional Development, majors such as Secondary Education or Elementary Education. College of Health Professions is actually our largest college, housing the most options of majors, so athletic training, nursing students, dietetics. College of Engineering and Computer Sciences, so any computer science major or emphasis of engineering, we have several of those. College of Liberal Arts, that's going to be sociology, English, psychology majors, and then lastly, College of Science. A lot of our pre-med students fall into this category, so some popular College of Science ones, biology, chemistry, even criminal justice falls under College of Science. University colleges listed here because it is a category that students may fall into if you are coming in as a freshman undecided. So at Marshall University, you do not have to declare your major until the end of your freshman year. I'll speak a little bit more on how we support those with undecided majors, but just know that you do not have to do that right off the bat, and there will be people in place to guide you along and help you figure out what you want to declare as your major. So these are the items that we need for admission. Number 1, completed application. Our application is currently available on our website for spring 2021 and fall 2021 semesters. A $40 application fee. Your official high school transcript. At this time, if you are a senior, that will be your preliminary transcript, and then we will receive a final copy of it after you graduate next year. Additionally, we would need a copy of test scores for you normally. We accept both SAT or ACT. And then lastly, immunization records, including your MMR vaccinations. The immunization records aren't necessary in order for us to make an admissions decision and let you know if you have been accepted. Those are needed to complete your file and records with us, however, before you do begin classes. A couple of things I do want to note on this slide. If you go directly to our website at marshall.edu/admission/apply, you will be able to do the application. I would say it takes no more than 15 minutes. And if you apply directly with us, we will be able to waive your application fee. You'll see the little Common App icon at the bottom of this slide. Many students do choose to use Common App, but Common App does charge their own fees, just so you are aware of that, and we are unable to waive any of those. So again, directly on our website, and we can waive the fee for you. Additionally, right now we have created some test optional admissions processes for seniors that may not have been able to test last year or may not have been able to do it yet this year. For those who want to be considered for test optional admission, it's just your high school transcript and a completed application that we need for you. And without test scores, they will be placing an added emphasis on previous academic performance of your high school. Transfer students here at the bottom, we would need all of the same information as well as college transcripts from any other institution that you have attended previously. And there's a $50 transfer evaluation fee that takes place of the $40 application fee. Anytime we are working with transfer students, unfortunately, we cannot waive transfer fees. We can only waive original application fees, just so you are aware of that. Additionally, for those of you who may be in dual credit courses, either through us or through another institution, that's considered as attending college previously somewhere else. So we will need your transcript from whatever institution where you completed courses as well, in addition to all the stuff on the top half of the slide. Admission requirements are pretty straightforward and simple. There's a couple of different combinations. So if you have a 2.0 GPA or higher, you would need a 19 ACT composite or 990 SAT for admission. Or if your GPA is higher, but maybe you aren't as great of a test taker, you can actually combine that with a lower test score of a 16 composite ACT or an 880 SAT. We do have some majors with special requirements. You can see those listed there. Nursing specifically is listed. It has a separate application that you do aside from your original application for Marshall acceptance, and that has a specific time frame window as well. Additionally, nursing, medical imaging, College of Science, engineering, and computer science have specific test score requirements that they are looking for. If you have a question about those, feel free to submit it right now. If you want to know what those composite and subcategory minimums are, we can look those up for you. Next is our merit-based scholarship table. For those that may not be familiar with what a merit-based scholarship even is, merit-based aid is strictly dependent on your GPA and test score combination. I know I mentioned before that we are doing test optional admission for seniors who have not tested. That means that you can be given provisional admission to Marshall University and given acceptance in lieu of test scores. However, in order to be considered for merit-based scholarships, entry into the Honors College, among other things, we will need a set of test scores for you eventually. So I do recommend still signing up for a test and testing as soon as possible if you have not, just so you can be considered for this merit-based aid. Merit-based scholarships are going to stack on to any other type of financial aid that you do receive, things stemming from FAFSA or the Promise if you're eligible for that, as well as any private scholarships that you are awarded. So back to merit-based scholarships. You'll see this table. It's a pretty simple breakdown. There are 3 columns on the right side depending on where you live. So if you are a West Virginia resident, Metro Kentucky or Ohio, Metro Kentucky or Ohio, or out of state. You'll see the SAT and ACT breakdowns there, as well as GPA combinations, and then the metro counties are listed at the bottom. These scholarships are also renewable for up to 4 years or 8 academic semesters consecutively. You would just need to maintain the GPA of whatever tier you fell into in order to receive that scholarship for the next year. So let's touch a little bit on academic life at Marshall. These are several support services that we have put in place in order to help students succeed in their time here. Career services, number 1. I mentioned University College previously for those undecided students who may fit into that category. They specifically have a hand in assisting those students with job assessment testing, sometimes on-the-job shadowing, and different things to help you kind of feel out what you are passionate about or may see yourself doing. They also offer services to other students of Marshall as well. They will do free resume building or mock job interviews if you are looking for employment post-graduation as well. Marshall University also has a tutoring center. The tutoring center does walk-ins or appointments, and that's like a peer tutoring program. So if you do have or find yourself struggling in a certain area, you can see somebody to get the progress you need, obviously, to help you pass your class. Marshall University also has a counseling center located right in the middle of campus, very easy to navigate. And the counseling center also does walk-ins or appointments. Counseling is just, what I mean by that is free mental health counseling for all students. So that's wonderful that they have that in place. We also have Writing Center as a support service. This is located in Drinko Library on the second floor. And the Writing Center really acts as a second set of eyes on any type of paper or work that you may be doing before you turn it in to a professor for actual credit. So if you need something proofread, maybe you're having writer's block, you can present your work to them or rough draft that you have so far, and they will assist you. Each student at Marshall is paired with a dedicated academic advisor based on your college. So whatever college category you fall into based on your major, you will be assigned an advisor. That person will be advising you throughout your entire time in undergrad, and especially during your first 2 years. You may have periodic meetings with your advisor just to check in and make sure things are on track. They are there to ensure that you are taking the courses you need, of course, but you're taking them in the correct order at the correct time. So advisors are like your best friend. As far as clubs and organizations, there's endless things it seems that you can be involved in on Marshall's campus. There's over 200 student led clubs and organizations. And additionally, if we don't have something already in existence that you have an interest in, Marshall will encourage you to start or form your own club or organization and sponsor you to do that. So I'd like to talk a little bit about student life at Marshall. Student activities, they have several things that go on per semester. The Campus Activities Board has a lot to do with that. They will put on different events, free events for you to participate in. So they do Build a Bison, they do a DIY series, they host free movie nights, free bowling nights, tons of different things like that. Additionally, we have what's called the Marshall Artist Series. So this is a partnership that Marshall has made with the Keith Albee Performing Arts Center located in downtown Huntington. And the goal of this program is to bring larger acts to our area that maybe you typically would not see here. So for example, musicians, comedians, Broadway plays, musicals, and to attend these events, it is free for a Marshall student. We also have a fantastic recreation center right here on campus. This facility is really just state of the art. Some of the key highlights of this building, there's an Olympic-sized swimming pool, 4 basketball courts, several racquetball courts, studio fitness rooms, a running or walking track that extends around the entire perimeter of the building located inside. We also have an outdoor pursuit center with a 3-story rock climbing wall, as well as all of the workout equipment or cardio equipment and weights that you would need. So all of that is located in that building. And the rec center is included in your tuition as a Marshall student. So you do not have a recurrent monthly fee or a membership that you have to keep up with. Athletics are definitely a huge part of the culture here at Marshall University. As a Marshall student, you will have free admission to any sporting event held here at home. Basketball and football, of course, are our pretty popular ones, but if you are interested in attending tennis, volleyball, baseball, soccer, you can do that as well. We also do have a pretty great Greek life presence on campus. So several fraternities and several sororities for you to choose from if you are interested in that. You know, one thing I can say about it is that in most organizations, the culture is that you are a student at Marshall first, getting your education, and you are a member second. So in each group as well, they do have standards to uphold as far as grades go in order to even be an active member. They also do a lot of community service and volunteering. It does look really good on a resume. And they do have information sessions at the beginning of each semester it's like a Greek Life 101 thing. So you can kind of get more information before you decide if that's something you'd like to do. Clubs and organizations is on this PowerPoint twice, but I think that's really just to drive home the point of you should become involved. I know I mentioned before there are over 200 student-led groups. There's an A to Z list actually on our website if you are interested in sifting through those to see what is there for you, or maybe what's not there that you would like to form yourself. So that's pretty much the end of the PowerPoint. Now I'm going to keep my screen shared, and there is one video I would like to show you, and this video is how to walk through our online application. And after the online application video, I will be walking you through several links that you might find helpful. And then you can copy those down if you would like. So I'm going to go ahead and begin this video.
Thank you for applying to Marshall University. This video will walk you through the steps of filling out an online application. If you need to pause the video at any point in time, please do so. To begin the application process, simply type in marshall.edu into the address bar and it will redirect you to our homepage. From there, you'll click Apply Now. You will then be directed to another page in which you will also click Apply Now. From there, you'll want to read our application disclosures. Once you've read the information on this page, continue to the application. At this point, you'll be prompted to create an account using an active email address. Feel free to pause the video until you're ready to create a new application. Once you've created an account, click Create New Application. And then click Start a New Undergraduate Application. Then you'll select your entry term, which will be fall 2021 if you're a senior. Your academic level will be undergraduate, and then you'll select a program. Now, use this time to answer some personal information about yourself, including your name, date of birth, and your social security number. If you don't know your social right now, it's okay, just leave it blank. This portion of the application includes optional information about your ethnicity. Please feel free to answer the question regarding whether or not your parents have received a four-year undergraduate degree, or if your family members have received a degree from Marshall University. If you are a veteran or have military service, also make sure to include that as well. For residency information, please include whether or not you are a West Virginia resident, a non-resident, a metro resident, or an international resident. If you're unsure of which counties qualify for metro residency, those are listed below. Let's continue by learning some information about your parents or guardian. If you only have one parent in the household, just put their name and email address. Don't forget to include information about your emergency contact. We have to make sure we have someone on file in case an emergency happens. Use this time to look at the information listed on the screen under Student Type. Then choose what type of student you'll be. If you're just graduating from high school, you'll choose Freshman. Now, you'll indicate which Marshall campus you'll plan on primarily enrolling in for your coursework. If you plan on living on campus, you'll choose Huntington campus. For attendance and course load, make sure to include full-time student if you plan to use any type of financial aid at Marshall University. For high school information, it's important that we know the name of your high school and where it's located. Also, please indicate your graduation month or whether or not you have graduated already. Then, we need to know if you have or plan on taking the ACT or the SAT. Just list those dates below. You're almost done. Go ahead and read the certifications listed below. Please list whether or not you understand and agree to those certifications. Now, go ahead and type your name in the bar under Signature. This will convert your signature into an electronic version. Now, you have the option to review your application before submitting it. If everything looks correct, go ahead and submit your application. Congratulations, you've officially applied to Marshall University. We hope to see you as a member of the herd in fall 2021.
Okay, everybody, so while I still have this screen shared with you, I do want to touch on a couple of links that you may find helpful. So feel free to jot these down if you have a pen and paper so you could review them later. The very first link is what our tour our campus link looks like. So right now, Marshall University is offering in-person tours. We are actually offering those during 4 different time slots per day listed here: 9 a.m., 11 a.m., 1 p.m., and 3 p.m. Those are offered Monday through Friday, every single day, every single week. So that is 20 opportunities within 1 week that you have to come visit us on campus. If you do happen to have not applied already for Marshall online and you do a campus visit with us, you can apply for free that day of your visit as well. Right here, it will say register for daily tour, just on that green button if you would like to proceed with that. As of now, you can see on the right side, these are our daily campus tour rules and requirements. So it just talks about specifics regarding the amount of guests that you can have, including face coverings, and that we do take temperature checks upon arrival. Additionally, you can schedule a one-on-one virtual tour. Sorry, that's right here. So this is where you would click if you want to schedule that. That can be conducted either via Skype or FaceTime if you prefer that. And that is with a recruitment coordinator like myself. It is a personally guided tour of campus. We take you through the exact same route that you would be going on as if you were here in person, as well as answer any questions that you have one-on-one. So if you aren't able to be here with us physically, then you do have the virtual option. Another thing I would like to note about the daily in-person campus tours is that if you do choose to come during the week and you are missing class or instruction time, we will be able to issue you a class or school excuse. Up at the top, you'll see this bright green box. This is promoting our most recent virtual event that we have launched, which is Fall 2020 Virtual Green and White Day, our open house for that. If you aren't familiar with Green and White Day, this is typically an on-campus event where hundreds of students and their families come from all over the place to join us in a full day of programming. And normally that entails an academic showcase and really kind of shows students what it is to be a student at Marshall, and you really get the ins and outs. You're able to speak with people in different colleges and things like that. But due to obvious reasons with COVID-19, we have moved this program completely virtual. We did have a spring version of this program, so if you have previously done that, this fall one is going to be tweaked and definitely different. So for the fall program, this launched on October 9th last week, and so much more information has been added into this version of the program. There are specific videos dedicated to every single undergraduate major that we offer. So those are super short, maybe a minute and a half in length, but we definitely encourage you to sign up for the program. You can click through the program at your own pace. So it's not going to be pre-recorded where you have to sit down for an exact or specific amount of time. You do have the option to click through as needed for the information that you are looking for. Our president of our university, Dr. Jerome Gilbert, does a bike tour on his GoPro and takes you around Huntington as well as on campus. We do have a 73 questions video, which is kind of in parody of the Vogue 73 questions, but it is with Marshall University recruiters. That video contains a wealth of information that you would probably find useful. Additionally, as far as other information that's in the Green and White Day program that's not included in the PowerPoint that I showed you, tons of in-depth housing information. I know not everyone is going to be living on campus. Perhaps you are within the 50-mile radius of campus and you are going to be a commuter student, but for those who aren't, all of this housing information is going to be very beneficial for you. There are videos of each dorm room option that we have, so a video walkthrough of the layout. There is dimension information and measurements. Along with housing stuff, there is meal plan information and breakdowns of all of that. So definitely encourage you to sign up. If you click this Launch Green and White Day Open House, it's going to take you directly to this page. So it's going to ask you for some basic contact information, just the way that we can get in touch with you, and then you can enter the program. Again, you can click through at your own pace. You don't have to sit down for a specific amount of time, and you can obviously quit or rejoin it later, but all of that information's in there to help you understand what it is to be a Marshall student. We want to provide you with the most information as possible. Also included in the Green and White Day Virtual Open House, under the Academic Showcase, there are links to academic maps for each undergraduate major we offer. As far as undergraduate majors, along with the options for emphasis in each of those, we have over 150 to choose from. So these links are going to be available in the Virtual Green and White Day program, but they are also available here on this external link. So if you want to copy that down as well. So let's say, for example, that we have a student who is interested in advertising in our School of Journalism and Mass Communications. If you were to click that, this is what it's going to populate for you. Every undergraduate major has one of these maps laid out. So you're going to see here from the top down, year 1 through 4. These classes by semester breakdown are not set in stone. You do have the option to tweak these a bit with your advisor depending on what's available and the order of things. This is just a general framework to show you all of the classes you will need to eventually graduate with this degree. The last thing I want to touch on before we end our presentation is scholarships. I know the PowerPoint mentioned merit-based scholarships. I don't know if I mentioned previously, but merit-based scholarships are completely non-competitive. You do not have to apply for these. You do not have to compete for these, write an essay, do any extra work whatsoever. If you have already completed an application to Marshall University for admission and we have your transcripts on file, you are automatically considered for any merit-based aid. So there's nothing additional that you have to do to be in consideration for these. If you meet those requirements for whatever tier it is, then that scholarship is automatically yours. And then again, I went over the aspects of it being renewable as well. So if you'd like to review those again, you can go to the link and click Review Merit-Based Scholarships. It will show you the same information that I showed you. But I also wanted to touch on private scholarships. Some people aren't really familiar with the difference in the two. Merit-based aid, again, is all about your academic performance. Private scholarships can be granted for a number of reasons based on circumstances of maybe where you live, or if you have worked at a certain place, or if you have a family member or who has worked somewhere, or if you are a veteran. So there's tons of scholarships available for specific groups of people. So for example, if I were to click Find Private Scholarships, it's going to take me to this page. Previously, for Marshall University, you would have to sift through hundreds of individual scholarship descriptions to see if you even meet the criteria to then spend your time individually applying for the ones that you are interested in. That has been completely changed, and at this point in time, we are doing a blanket application for each student. What the blanket application means is that you do one form online and it automatically sifts through everything for you. So it's going to weed out the things that you match with, and on a separate tab show you you're in consideration for XYZ scholarship. It's not going to say you have been awarded XYZ scholarship. That is in a separate tab. But the purpose of the portal is making it as easy as possible on you all as students, and that you have login access to come back in and check later to see if you have been granted or awarded any of those scholarships. So the blanket application is set up like a questionnaire, almost looks like a survey. So make sure you are being truthful in your answers and answering all those questions honestly as you go through that. So if I were to click Search MU Scholarships, it would take me here. As you can see, there are 300 and almost 330 scholarships available for students attending Marshall. It has an A to Z list right here. Has a small description of each one. If you're interested in browsing that, that is there for you. On the left, though, you can filter by college, state, need, all of these different things. For example, I just want to show you what would happen next if you were to click Apply Now. It's going to take you to your account that you've already created with Marshall University. And then it's going to say Start New Application. I have already started a fake application just for preview purposes. But this is what it looks like. So it's going to ask you all of these different questions. Again, make sure you're being honest about those. And I would say it takes you no more than 10, 15 minutes to complete this. So like I mentioned again, private scholarships, merit-based aid, as well as promise eligibility or any type of grants that you are receiving from FAFSA, whether that be the West Virginia Higher Education Grant, the Pell Grant, all of these forms of financial aid are going to stack and be able to be used towards your tuition or housing. That's essentially the end of my presentation. So if you all have questions, feel free to keep sending those in, and Alex is on top of those as far as answering them. But we will just be here waiting for questions. And other than that, thank you all so much for joining us. If you have no questions, you are free to leave the meeting. And thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah, and while your questions come in, I would like to just go over a few common questions that we get asked every once in a while. Number one at the top of the list is, for those of you that have been able to take your ACT or the SAT, and take one of those tests multiple times, we do SuperScore. For those of you that might be unfamiliar with SuperScoring, what this means is we'll take your highest subscores, no matter what test date they come from. So using the ACT as an example, we'll take your highest math score, reading, and 2 sciences, and recalculate your composite. This is something that's going to help you. It might bump you up 1 or 2 points. I've seen it bump students up 3 or 4 points on the ACT before. It just depends. But we super score both for admissions and for those merit-based scholarships that Megan had mentioned earlier in the presentation. And then one last common question I really want to cover, because we get this one a lot. For those of you that have taken dual credit courses in high school, whenever you apply, you can still apply as a freshman. As long as you don't attend college somewhere else at a different institution, you'll still be considered a freshman the first time you apply here at Marshall. So if you guys do have any additional questions, please continue to send those in. We'll be answering them for the next 10 minutes or so. And thank you all for joining us.
Okay, I see a couple more questions still continuing to come in. So Alex and Megan are answering those. But I thought maybe while we answer those last few, Megan or Alex, whoever prefers, would you maybe want to talk about a tradition at Marshall or some fun activities that happen year after year for students?
Yeah, absolutely. We are definitely a university rooted in tradition and history. We touch on it all the time and mention, you know, the movie We Are Marshall. That is a movie that was made about the events surrounding the 1970 plane crash. So that was November 14th, and every year we have a fountain ceremony to honor those who lost their lives in the plane crash. I would say that's one of the most memorable things that we do each year on campus. So along with community members, we have the university president, student government people, other students come and speak at this. We have athletes, tons of people participate, and anybody is free to come and observe. So if you do have the time, whenever that is throughout the year, when you're attending at Marshall, we definitely encourage you to do that. Some of the things from the PowerPoint that I mentioned that stand out to me on the Student Life page, definitely the Marshall Artist Series, and definitely the Rec Center. So I cannot stress enough how amazing that facility is, and it's right there at your disposal, next to all of the dorms for freshmen. So there's really no reason not to go and check that out. But the Marshall Artist Series specifically, they have some awesome singers and comedians that they bring, and different shows that you can go attend as a Marshall student. And again, free for all these events, free for any on-campus events, usually that our campus activities board will throw. So the main thing is that we want people to know is that we're definitely family on campus. We're a mid-sized institution, so as far as student population, it's a little bit over 9,000 for undergrad, a little bit over 13,000 when you total in grad students. But the campus is just the best of both worlds, to where you can walk out your door and say, look around and feel like you're at a big university. It is a public university, but you can also walk out your door and head to a class and not be able to make it to your building without seeing somebody you know, or running into somebody and saying hello. So that's definitely special about Marshall, that you do get both aspects.
It looks like we have about 5 minutes left. So our students who are still with us, there is still time to ask a couple more questions. Feel free to enter those into that Q&A box. I do see another one just popped in, so. Awesome. We will give it about another minute for any additional questions, and then we will close with just some quick housekeeping reminders for our students. Okay, so thank you everyone for joining us this evening. When you close this window, there will be a link for a very quick 4-question survey, and we would greatly appreciate any feedback that you can provide. Also, just a reminder, this was just one of many sessions being hosted. So be sure to sign up for additional sessions at WVACRAO.org. In about 1 week's time, you will be able to find this session's recording as well as all of the other sessions recordings at that same website, WVACRAO. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful evening.